as long as you're not driving or if you don't need to be in total control of your conscious mind, I would like for you to take a moment and close your eyes and feel your heart beating. Just notice your heart beating. Tune into each beat of your heart and notice the power that is beating your heart. Notice that the life force that is beating your heart is constant. As you relax the tension in your body, notice that your awareness of this power beating your heart increases. The more relaxed you become, the more aware of this power you become, until your awareness of this power behind your heart is the only thing you experience. And you can open your eyes and let go of that. That feeling, that life principle, that flow through your body, flow through your mind, flow through your experience, I call that the magic flow. Being aware of that magic flow is essential to being effective in our magic. Now, whether you use that specific exercise or not doesn't matter. But your awareness of that life principle, that life force, that prana, that will to keep you alive is the same force that we tap into for any kind of magic. It's important to understand that this magic flow is the universe's infinite and unstoppable power. It's the same exact power that makes the sun burn, that makes the planets revolve around the sun, that makes the trees grow, that makes the tides flow, that creates stars and galaxies. The same exact power. There's no differentiation. And your share of that power is infinite. It can't be thwarted in any way. You can't overuse it. A lot of times we hear about conserving energy in this world. And that's because this world has limited resources. The magic flow is an unlimited resource that you can't overuse. Often when people first understand about connecting with this flow, connecting with this power, they think of it, and rightfully so, in terms of how they can use it to cast a spell or to heal something in a body or to change a circumstance. And those are absolutely righteous uses of this power. But a lot of us forget that just tuning into the power in and of itself without adding anything to it, as far as our own conscious intentions, can resolve things and create things for us in much more powerful ways than if we channel that energy in a specific way. And it's not that it's wrong to channel the energy in a specific way. You can. It's perfectly valid to say, I'm going to do a love spell, or I'm going to do a money spell, or I'm going to do a healing spell. And you channel that energy and you direct it. But many times we forget that just tuning into the power in and of itself is all that's necessary. And that we can attach whatever the issue at hand is to this power and let the power do it for us. Let the power resolve the problem. Let the power bring about the result without us doing too much directing. The only directing we have to do is to attach the experience to the power. That's all that we have to do. Because in reality, it's never detached. But because of our powerful minds, if we feel like we have a problem, if we feel like we have an unfulfilled desire, it's as if those things are detached from this magic flow. And so our job really only is in our mind to bring those together and then get out of the way and let it do its thing. A lot of times we're not comfortable doing that because we have this idea that the universe won't be able to figure it out for us unless we give it very detailed instructions. This power that can create galaxies and suns and oceans and stars and moons, babies, is not quite smart enough to figure out what's going to make us happy or what's going to bring about a good result in this particular situation in our life. Can't understand our career, can't understand our money, can't understand our health. So we have to give it very, very detailed instructions. And we have to visualize to the T exactly what we want. Otherwise, it'll mess it up. And what we don't understand is, like I said before, while that is valid to do those kinds of spells, that often we are shooting ourselves in the foot because we forget that we aren't as smart as we think we are. It's not that the universe is an idiot. It's that we're the idiot because we're limiting ourselves to just this or to just that. And many times when we limit ourselves to just this and just that, we don't have the understanding of the big picture to know why just this or just that can't happen for us or shouldn't happen for us. We don't know because all we have is our little vantage point. We say, no, this is exactly what I want. Give me this, nothing else. Give me this. But see, if we attach the situation to the magic flow and step out of the way, we can watch it work its magic in a way that we wouldn't have ever come up with on our own. That it does have a vantage point that we don't have and can see the big picture of not only what's going to make us happy, but what's not going to get in the way of somebody else's happiness. Many times we say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And when we get this, down the road, we say, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know this was going to be there, right? But if we had taken a different approach to our magic and said, I'm just going to allow the same power that created me to resolve this situation or to bring me what's going to make me happy in this area of my life, it's so much better than we could have ever come up with on our own. So either way you do it is fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do spells that are very specific. You can. And sometimes those work out really well, and sometimes those are great because they teach us a lesson. Maybe I shouldn't have been so specific. So either way is fine. But what's important, what the real topic today is the flow itself, is finding that flow and getting into that flow on a regular basis. Now, when you noticed that just a moment ago, when we took you to your heartbeat and you noticed the power behind your heartbeat, many of you may have felt this flow in a new way than you had before. Maybe little chills and shivers running up your spine, maybe a sense of jubilation or a sense of upliftment. It's definitely not just this passive feeling. There's definitely a buzz that goes on. And sometimes that buzz can get extremely intense the more you are aware of it. And it's like your whole being is shaking with this vibration of this magic flow. And if you can get in touch with that magic flow before you cast a spell and while you're casting a spell, things are very different for you than if you just relax and visualize. Right? Because relaxing is part of it. Definitely relaxing is part of it. But relaxation all by itself, if you're not connecting to that flow, if you're not connecting to that magic flow energy, that life principle that animates the entire universe, then it's not quite the same thing, is it? It's like using a AA battery rather than plugging into the outlet. The AA battery is fine, but it's going to run out of juice soon. But if you're plugged into the outlet, there's never any chance that you're going to run out of that power. And not only that, but you've got full access to that power at all times. It's not just a little bit of power, it's all the power. When you are walking through your life and are confronted with a situation that's either something that needs to be resolved or something that you would like to get, you don't always have the time or inclination to be able to cast a spell, light a candle, sprinkle a powder, do a meditation. But if on a regular basis you are connecting with this magic flow, you can just take a few seconds to reestablish your feeling of connection with that flow, feel those shivers, feel that buzz, if you will, and attach whatever the desire or the problem is to that flow and let it do its thing. You can get so good at that you can do that while you're driving a car, because you don't have to close your eyes anymore. You can do that while you're on a bus. You can do that in the midst of doing something at work. You get to the point where you're able to cast these little spells without anybody knowing it. Talk about stealth, right? Being a stealth witch is just connecting to that magic flow and taking a millisecond to attach whatever the situation is to that flow and then step out of the way and let it do its work. Now, this is all very interesting, but it doesn't mean anything until you use it and you understand what I'm talking about. So I want you to do that this week. I want you to find this flow first and foremost and try to get into this flow several times a day just for the sake of doing it so that you can establish that connection with it very quickly. And then once you do that, practice in real time, connecting a problem or a goal to that flow, and make sure that it's very brief, seconds at most, not spending a lot of time, definitely not visualizing the details, but just putting the problem or the goal together with this flow, just feeling it there and recognizing that it's fully connected, and then going about your day, dropping the matter completely, going about your day, and noticing how quickly and efficiently the problem gets resolved. The goal gets maybe not fully realized, but you can see that it's well underway by having those practical experiences of connecting with this magic flow and having results. It starts to build momentum. And then you start living a life of magic flow. There's less and less time when you're out of the flow and more time that you're in the flow. Imagine what that's like when you're in the flow most of the time without consciously trying to be that way. You become a high priest or a high priestess of magic where powerful things are constantly happening around you and through you and because of you. And it's not a big show. Many people won't even notice that's happening. It's not a big show externally, but it's a huge show to you. When you start to realize, I used to live my life as if nothing ever worked for me, and now I can't help but have things work out for me. The question always comes up with this or with any other kind of magical practice is, can I do it for other people? Can I do it for other people? You can, and sometimes it's very powerful if somebody's having a problem to connect them with this magical flow. But there's so much free will that goes on with people's problems that we don't understand. And that even though it seems like such a nice thing for you to do, and it is a nice thing, it's very sweet that you're wanting to help people. But many times we don't understand why they're in the situation that they're in. And us connecting the magic flow to their situation without understanding their situation, even though we think we do, we're actually interfering more than we're helping. So what you can do, rather than directing the flow do a specific thing for them, you can just connect them with the flow and just let it be whatever it is. And if they reject that, they reject it. A lot of times they will. A lot of times it won't compute for them because they have a whole reason why they're in this problem. They have this whole mindset that they have to learn about. They have to go through what they have to go through in order to learn about it. And you coming in to say, I'm going to heal this for you, a lot of times that just gets rejected out of hand. And that's not because you're an ineffective magician or witch. It's because they're not ready for it. It's not their time to have that kind of an experience with the magic flow. It's the difference between blessing somebody and casting a spell on them. You can bless them, and that's what we do when we connect this flow with them without having any specifics. When you get too involved in working magic for other people, a lot of times you start to slip up with magic for yourself. You start forgetting why we do this. We really do it for ourselves. That's not because we're selfish, it's because we are responsible for ourselves, not for other people. It's not that we're being selfish and uncaring, it's just that this is for us. So for the most part, this or any other magic is really intended for your benefit. Not that you can't ever help other people with your magic. Of course you can. But that's not the basis of your work. A lot of times the best thing you can do is just bless somebody and hold a good space for them that they're going to find their way. And then you go about your life and you start working on your stuff. So for your own self, what are just maybe the top 3 things right now in your life that you need to either have resolved or that you would like to achieve? And let it be somewhat practical. Don't be super duper pie in the sky about it. You can move just beyond your sphere of influence, but don't go crazy asking for $1 billion or something like that, or winning the lottery and all that nonsense. What is it that you want or that you want resolved? Let the top thing come to mind. And then let's get back into that magic flow. So close your eyes for a minute if you're in a place where it is safe for you to do that. And find that heartbeat. And I feel a little lift right behind my heart when I do that. And I feel that little lift behind my heart, and I feel the beating of the heart, and I connect to the energy of the universe that is beating my heart. And that's what I want you to do. And you'll start to feel a little something. Everybody's different. For me, it's a little buzz, and then I get a little bit of tingling and shivering. And then very gently, nonchalantly, bring to mind the issue or goal. Just know that by doing that, you are attaching that problem that needs resolution or that goal that needs fulfillment to this magic flow. Just take a moment to feel that flow again, the shivering or whatever it is that you experience. And then just say, thank you, blessed be. And it's done. That's it. For now, just to keep things organized in your experience, just stick with that one thing for now. And then maybe do the next thing tomorrow. And then maybe do the third thing the day after that. Just so that you can have some time with the flow and you give it its own space in your mind. But notice when you do that, how quickly and easily you're feeling better about the situation in general. And if you notice that you're thinking about the thing, either wanting it to appear or wanting it to get resolved after you've done that, gently put it out of your mind. Just remind yourself this is in the hands of the magic flow. This is already being taken care of. Because the more you don't think about it, the more it can think about it for you. The more you take your mind off of it, the more powerfully you're going to have that resolution. You learn when you're working with this magic flow, and any magic for that matter, the only time you're thinking about the issue at hand is when you're giving another kind of treatment, magical treatment to it, or if you have to do something practically in the world in that moment regarding it. But other than that, it's just gently out of your mind. You gently take it out of your mind. You get busy doing something else and you don't worry about it. If it pops up organically often, you just bless it and release it. You bless it and release it, but you don't ruminate over it. You don't ground it again before it's had a chance to manifest in the way that it's supposed to. This is so powerful. Working with the flow like this is so powerful. And a lot of times when people hear about this, they think, yeah, but I didn't use any herbs. I didn't use any perfumes. There's no candles. I'm not chanting. I didn't do any dance. I don't have a fire. How powerful can that be? Right? So be careful of that, because what happens is many times our rituals are a hindrance more than a help, because we start to think that we need these things in order to get the results that we desire. And I love a good ritual. There's nothing wrong with ritual. I love ritual. And you can incorporate this with your rituals, by the way. You can have this be part of your ritual. But don't discount it as a practice unto itself just because it doesn't have a lot of ritual, is my point. Because a lot of the best manifestations that I've ever experienced as a result of working magic has come working like this, rather than working with a lot of ritual. Now, that's probably not the case when I was a beginner. When I was a beginner, I think the rituals really helped me because they kept me focused and they really helped me get a hold of those different aspects of my mind. So those tools were very, very powerful and very helpful for me, especially at the beginning. But as I got older and more experienced in the craft, I noticed that these techniques that used fewer tools and rituals actually started holding more power for me because they were able to be done on the fly. They were able to be done without any preparation. The other thing about the magic flow is you can use it alongside other magic or not. Now, sometimes I'll use this idea of the magic flow when I'm working planetary magic. Let's say angel magic with Ariel on a Friday, doing an Ariel ceremony or talisman or something like that. I'll still get into this magic flow. And then through that magic flow, the part of the magic flow that expresses itself as Venus and Ariel and all of those things are highly active in that ceremony, are highly active in that operation. You can use it just very generically all by itself, like we just did, or you can incorporate it into more intricate operations as you desire. It's the inclusion of the magic flow in your operations that is so powerful. And you'll notice that with it, things happen very quickly, and without it, they don't. And many of you have already done this all on your own, I'm sure, without calling it this, because it's natural. It's very natural. It's just, like we said, it's the same power that creates you. It's the same power that makes your heart beat. It's the same power that makes embryos grow into babies. So that same power can do whatever. There's no difficult and easy to that power. If you have a problem that you need a resolution to or a goal that you want to have realized, the universe wants that for you too. It wants that for you too. And in whatever way is going to be most expedient for you, it's going to bring it about. So if you can ease off on too many details, you're going to get it a lot faster. You can tune into the flow and just gently attach whatever that desire or that problem that needs resolution to this flow, feel that connection, and then put it out of mind and let it do its thing. Add as much or as little ritual as you desire. Remember, this is a craft. There's no stipulation on your aesthetic. It's a craft. It's not a religion. I know a lot of people like to think of the craft as a religion, but I don't. I think of it as an art form. It's a spiritual art form. And sometimes I want everything real minimalistic because it's very effective that way for me. And other times I really feel the need and the desire for a lot of ritual and a lot of extra symbols and tools and systems. And that's fine too. But it's a craft, and you have the right and the privilege to have your craft be however you want it to be. And it's nice to know, isn't it, that you can connect with the power in a very simple way for those experiences and those times that you don't need or want or desire a lot of ritual. And it's just as effective and sometimes even more effective than when we do big rituals and big ceremonies for ourselves. Finding that flow that's already established. Sometimes we say establish that flow. It's already established or your heart wouldn't be beating. But you can tune into that flow and then connect that flow with whatever your desire or your problem. And just take a moment. It's really just a moment or two. It's not a big, long deal to make sure that you are feeling that you've connected those two things together. And then you get out of the way and let it do its thing. And the way you get out of the way is put it out of mind. Don't keep bringing it to mind. Let it drop. Drop it from your consciousness. If it comes up organically, you don't have to fight against it, but just bless it and release it. Unless there's something that needs to be done, obviously. If there's something that you need to do, you'll be shown. If you need to do something practical in the world, you'll be shown and you'll do it. And then you put it out of mind. And the more you can do that, putting it out of mind, the better. You may want to reconnect with this power several times during the day, or maybe several days in a row, just like a multiple day spell. And that's absolutely fine. But just like with any other magic, you'll get to a place where you just feel like it's complete. Like you don't need to do this anymore. You don't need to connect anymore. You don't need to cast a spell for this anymore. And you can just let it go. completely and not do this again. Joseph Murphy used to say, it's like toast popping out of a toaster. A watched pot never boils. The watched toaster never pops. So you just do something else and it will show you. It will make sure that you know when it's manifest. It's going to be very obvious. You'll hear the toast pop. You'll hear the water bubbling. You'll hear the tea kettles whistling. It will happen for you and you won't have to worry that you're going to miss it. Play around with this idea. Play is a great way to say it. Don't make it too serious, but just really finding this magic flow and learning how to connect this flow to whatever you desire and letting it manifest for you. And you're going to be so happy that you're doing this, whether or not you use extra ritual, because it works. And you're going to prove that to yourself. You won't have to believe me. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.